Yeah. Hope you guys can hear me, right? So let me share my.
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? Okay, let us start the session. Guys. So from start with cloud storage service. Okay. What that? Google Cloud Storage. Okay, we already know what is a Google Cloud Storage. We already know that. If you remember from yesterday's class, I have told you what is a data lake, what is a data warehouse. I have told you. In a Google storage, Google cloud storage is a data. Okay. Okay. What is this cloud storage now? It is a one of the data lake. And you wanted to learn about it, it is a very fully managed service. What is this one, sir? Global cloud storage is fully managed services where you can store any amount of data, any number of files. Okay, so this is what Google Cloud Storage is. My net my screen is not so good, guys. I'm not sure why it is happening. Yeah. So Google Cloud Storage is a fully managed service. What does that mean? So if you wanted to look at your, if you get your, on-premise, if you go and if you wanted to store some data, you as a person have to manage your entire resources. Okay, you as a person have to manage your entire resources. But when you look at a cloud storage, it's a free managed service where you need about taking you need not worry about details. All this will take care of the Google Cloud platform. Okay, so fully service data, any number of files. That's what we have seen yesterday, right? And so how Google Cloud Storage operates? The very first is like it's okay that we know how to create and how to store the data and how to store any references. But the main intention of Google Cloud Storage is.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Storage that keep so is kind of very slow. Allow me today. So guys can see my yeah. Very slow. Okay, so this is my okay, so this is a cloud storage, guys. A cloud storage is nothing but an elastic object storage service. Okay, what does that mean, sir? Elastic, the name itself, it is saying that elastic means you can store any amount of data. Okay, what is a cloud storage? A cloud storage is a service for storing your objects in the Google Cloud Platform. And what is meant by object, guys? What is meant by object? An object is nothing but an immutable piece of data consisting of any file format. What you are doing in the cloud storage, you create a bucket. Okay, this is your bucket. Inside that you keep your files. This is the concept of cloud storage, guys. Okay, it is a storage system and this is the service for storing your data in the form of an objects. Okay, here you're gonna create a bucket first. A bucket is nothing but a container and you keep objects inside of it. Okay, so while creating a bucket, okay, while creating a bucket, there are the plenty of the things that we have to take care of it. Let us see one by one now. Okay, so let me go to my Google Cloud Platform. Let me try to show you how it looks like in Google Cloud Storage, and we will see how we can create a bucket or how we can work with the cloud storage today. Okay, any questions? So let me try to share my screen, guys. You see here, I am inside my console. I will also tell you how to create an account in the Google Cloud Platform, maybe Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so meanwhile, we will start with the cloud storage. So let me, if I, okay, let me give it you tour of it. So this is how the console looks like, guys. So if you wanted to see, there is a left navigation menu where you will be able to see all of the services in the list. So you'll be able to, if you wanted to select each and every services, you can, that is one option. And this is a place where you create your project. A project is, we will see what is a project and how to work with each and everything, but let us not go deeper now. So every aspect or every service in the Google Cloud Platform is connected to the project. Even though if you go to your company, if you are working means you are tagged to one project, right? Likewise, each and every service in the Google Cloud Platform is tagged to one of the project. So if you wanted to work with any service, you first select a proper service, proper project. Okay. If you wanted to create a new project, click on this button to create a new project. Okay. Now I am selecting an existing project which I already created, and this is one thing. So if you cannot go to the left navigation menu, if you don't wanted to select each and everything, if you wanted to select a particular service, you have a search option here. So this is where you will be able to enter any service name which you wanted to work with. Okay, so this is one place. And other than that, you have here free trial status. I have created my free account, guys. Here I'll be able to see how many free credits I have here. Okay, and this is one thing. And one more thing is here, this is a cloud shell, guys. We will be learning about what is a cloud shell. A cloud shell is one of the Linux operating system where it is having a 5 GB persistent disk storage. All of those things we will learn in our upcoming sessions. And just to give you a glance, this is a Google Cloud Platform console where all the services will be listed in the left navigation. And if you want to work with any of the services, you select a proper project here and you go for the service which you wanted to work with. So I wanted to work with the cloud storage today. So I am going to click on cloud storage. Okay, this is one thing. Some people are new. So don't worry, guys. I'm going to explain maybe at the end of the session what is this course about. Okay. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do you guys can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So now we have entered into the cloud storage, guys. As I told you, cloud storage operates via buckets as well as objects. A bucket is nothing but a container. An object is nothing but a file of any format. So if you wanted to store some data, so the main challenge as a data engineer for me is to have a scalable platform where I can store some data, right? So one of that scalable platform is the Google Cloud Storage, guys. So what is the main benefit of using the cloud storage is that you need not to worry about it. What kind of a data you can store it here, because it's gonna allows you to store any amount of data, any file format. It's not that. So if you go to your RDBMS, you can only store the data in the form of tables. Okay, if you go to some BigQuery, you can only store the data in the form of tables. No SQL databases. If you look at Cassandra, or if you look at the MongoDB, you can only store the data in the form of collections. Okay, documents. Okay, but when you come to the Google Cloud Storage, you can store any data. There is no restriction here. So that's the reason it is called as a data lake. Data lake does not have any restriction on the data types, data file formats, data amount. Okay, so this is one thing. And how, if I wanted to store, what I have to do, sir? First thing, we have to create a bucket. So we have here create option, click on it. Okay, so the very first thing it is asking me, if I wanted to create a bucket, it is asking me to provide a name of your bucket. And you see here, pick a globally unique name. If I try to provide some name like bucket, it does not gonna allow me. Why? Because it is asking you to, or it is telling you to create a globally unique name. This bucket name might have used already by someone, so you cannot use that name already. Okay, so that is something. So for that reason, bucket underscore batch 9 p.m. every day. So this kind of a name, I think no one might have used already, right? So this is something that I have given a globally unique name. And after that, I click on continue. Okay, so once you have provided your bucket name, this is a place where you have to select your location type. And this is again something you have to be very smart while selecting your location type, sir. Okay, let us see now. For example, if you wanted to select a proper location, let me go to my paint and try to explain how to select a proper location, because we have three types. Okay, in location type, we have three things. One is region we can select, one more is dual region we can select, and one more is multi-region. What is this one, sir? First, let us try to understand, and let us, after that, we will select it. Okay, multi-region. Sir, think like this. You have created a bucket by selecting a single region. For example, think that, assume that you have created a bucket. This is your bucket. Okay. And what you have done is, like, in the bucket, you have created a bucket by selecting a proper region, a single region. And what happened is, like, you have uploaded some data here, some sales.csv. Okay. You have created a bucket with a single region, some region you have selected here. Okay. What happened is, like, due to some reasons, this particular entire region has crashed. Okay, some failure happened at this particular region. Because of that, what happened is, like, your entire data will be lost. Okay, if there is any earthquake or any other some regions, if this entire region has crashed, the data there in your bucket will also be lost. So because of that, there is no replication in the region. So when you select a region, if you select a single region, what happens is, like, if that single region crashes, your data will be lost. You will be losing your data. So this is what. So I don't want it to go for that option, because there is a data loss. Data loss will be there. What if I go to the dual region? If I go to the dual region, what will happen is that I select a bucket. While creating the bucket, I select a dual region. What happened is, like, when you select a bucket and created your file inside your bucket, some sales.csv, what will happen is, like, when you select a dual region, this entire data, replica of your data, will be replicated to one more region. Okay, this is your single region. So this is your region 1. Okay, you have selected dual region. That means you have to select region 1 as well as region 2. Okay, so even though the crash happens at this particular region, you will be able to load your data from this particular file. You will be able to retrieve your data from this particular file. So what is happening here? So whenever you select a dual region while creating your bucket, automatically back and there will be a replication happens. So there is an entire data will be available in one more region as a replica. Okay, so here also your data will be available. So even though you lose, even though some crash happened at this particular region 1, you will be able to have your data or retrieve your data, backup your data from this region 2. So this is what is a dual region option, sir. Okay, so what is here? Replication is there. Replication is there. Available. But here, no replication. Okay, so this is one thing. And because of this replication, your data is highly available. You can say available, not highly, but let us say available. Your data is available. Okay, and what if this, if we are very bad or if we are in a very bad luck, even though if this particular region is also crashed, again I'll be losing my entire data. I cannot have a place where I can able to retrieve my data. So that means even though I selected a dual region, both the regions crashed, I'll not be able to retrieve my data from any location. So this is what is a problem with the dual region. So that's the reason I said not highly available, but available. The data is available. And one more thing is when I say replication between two regions, this is what it is. But when you go to the multi-region, you have created a bucket. And inside that bucket, you have your sales file, sales.csv. Now, while creating your bucket, if you select a multi-regional option, your data will be replicated to the multiple regions. Okay, so your data will be replicated to multiple regions, sir. So because of this one, what happens? Even though this region crashed, this region crashed also, you will be able to retrieve the data from this one. So what is happening? Data replication is there from between multiple regions here. Data replication is there between multiple regions. Because of this one, the data will be highly available all the time. Okay, replication among multiple regions. Okay, so this is what it is, guys. One thing, and one more thing is data is highly available. Okay, and people say that very less latency. Okay, very less latency. And here people say that there is a little latency. Latency will be there, little, but compared to the, if there is a latency. What is mean by latency? It is a seek time, sir. Whenever you wanted to retrieve something, there is a time taken for retrieval. And here there will be a considerable latency will be there. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, now I would say here, instead of region, I would say here replication between two regions. Okay, now you are smart enough to provide a proper selection of your location. Okay, what does that mean? How we are going to select it? Sir, if I go to the single region, I have a no replication, but again, latency is also there. Latency means when you try to retrieve your data of sales CSV, it takes some time. Okay, so that is one thing. When you go for a dual region, you have some benefit of replication and data also available. The replication is there in two regions. Even though first region is crashed, you will be able to get the data from one more region, and latency also less compared to the region. And when you go to the multi-region, what happened is like the data is replicated among the multiple regions, and that is the reason data is highly available. Okay, data is highly available. The latency also very, very less. Okay, when you get this many benefits, the cost is also will be according to the benefits only. So when you look at, the cost will be increasing from the region to the multi-region. Okay, so this is what is all about selecting a proper location, guys. Okay, so how you have to select it? If at any cost, if you don't want it to lose your data, at any cost you don't want it to lose your data, you go to the multi-region. Okay, it's okay, my data is not that much important for me, I'll go for the dual region. Okay, this data is, I'm gonna use it today only, even though if it is if I lost it tomorrow, that's fine for me, then you can go for the region. So why we are going to the why we are having these options? According to the benefits that we are getting, according to the cost model as well, pricing model as well. So the highest price will be for the multi-region, lowest price will be the region. Highest benefits is for the multi-region, lowest benefits is for the region. So this way we will be able to select a proper region here, sir. Right, now go back here. Let me select this thing. Now you see here, multi-region, highest availability across the largest area. Across the US multiple regions, the data will be highly available. You see here, there is a storage cost is there is a replication cost is also there. Okay, that's the reason multi-region is highly cost. If you go to the region, there is only storage cost, and that storage cost is also lesser, and there is no replication, because there is no replication. If there is no replication, there won't be any replication cost. So this is how it is. Okay, so now what is my requirement is, right, my manager told me, so this is a very important data, we should have this data highly available. So that is the reason I select a multi-region, and based on that you can select your Europe or Asia Pacific, whatever it is. Now I'm going with the US. Okay, so this is, hope this is clear. Any questions on that one? Location type? Great. Now, the very next option is storage classes. Again, very important thing. Okay, let me try to explain you. Sir, we have, you see here, standard, nearline, cold line, and archive. So when you wanted to, so before that, you need not worry about what is this class. Let me try to explain, guys. Don't worry about that. Okay. So look at here, storage classes, guys. Storage classes. Okay. Don't worry about the storage class, but let us understand one more topic. That is, sir, you have one file, you have two files, you have third file, you have four files. So you have a one file. This is your second file. This is your third file, and this is your fourth file. Okay. So this file, your manager told that we are going to access this file very frequently. What is this one, sir? He told that this first file, we are accessing it frequently. So the access is frequently here. Frequently. Okay. And your manager, you asked your manager that, sir, what about the second file now? So first file was frequently we are accessing it, that is fine. What about the second file? No, the second file is we are not accessing it frequently. We are accessing it once in a month. Okay, we are accessing it once in a month. What about the third file, sir? He told like, okay, we never use this file, or we hardly use once in a quarter. Okay, so we hardly use once in a quarter. And he told like about the fourth file, we never use this file at all, but you mentioned once in a year. Okay, you have thought that, okay, once in a year we are going to retrieve it or access this file. Okay, I have a different files, sales file, customer file, some other JSON schema, whatever it is. Okay, you have a different files. When you ask your manager, he told like this. So we are accessing this data frequently. We are accessing this data once in a month, this data once in a quarter, this file once in a year. Okay, now tell me, sir. So when you are accessing, your access requirement is varying, and if I put a same cost throughout all of these files, would it be good? No, right? Logically, if I put a same cost for all of these files, it wouldn't be a good one. And that cloud provider is also a not good cloud provider. They have not put any proper models or proper tiers or proper storage classes we can think of. So that's where Google has come up with the 4 storage classes. Okay, so according to your requirement, they are providing you 4 storage classes. If you are having a file which you are accessing it frequently, they're gonna say that standard storage class, standard. Okay, you select a standard, and if you are accessing once in a month, you go for nearline storage class, and one more is cold line, and one more is archive. Okay, so and what are this one? How you have the types here: region, dual region, multi-region. In the storage classes also, you have 4 storage classes, guys. According to your requirement, it's not that they have provided you, you have to must and should use it. So if your file is frequently accessed, you go for the standard. You will get the benefit of the cost. For the near once in a month, if you are using it, you go for the nearline because you again get the some benefit of the cost. Likewise for the cold line and archive. So this is what is a storage classes, guys. This is how you have to select it. Now, if you wanted to look at the cost perspective, and there are 2 costs associated. Whenever you use any service in the GCP, not only in the GCP, if you go to any platform, if you go to any cloud platform, okay, if you use, assume that you use a service, okay, you are working with one service. So there are 2 costs associated. Okay, sorry, there are 2 costs associated. This is a general point, sir. There are 2 costs associated whenever you use any service in any cloud platform. What are those costs, sir? One is storage cost. One more is processing or retrieval. Some services it is having a processing cost, some services it is having a retrieval cost. Okay, so this is what it is. Now with the cloud storage is also there are 2 costs associated. One is storage cost, one more is retrieval cost. What is retrieval cost? Whenever you try to retrieve the data from this, but see, our main intention of ingesting the data to the Google Cloud Storage is that somewhere we need it, somewhere we need this file, somewhere we need to access this file from some other platform. That's the reason. Why do we unnecessarily store some data? We need the data some other location, right? So for that purpose, we are storing it. So when you look at the storage cost and process retrieval cost, you are going to compare with each storage class. Let me gonna pull up that image. Somewhere here it will be. You have here 4 storage classes, guys. Okay, we have here 4 storage classes. One is standard, nearline, coldline, and archive. And standard is none. Minimum storage duration is none. That means frequently accessed data. Somewhere here it will also be there somewhere. I'm not sure. Okay, it is a frequently accessed data, sir. And data once in a month, data once in a quarter, or data once in a year. Okay, the storage cost and processing cost or retrieval cost we will see here. Okay, so you will be able to see the standard, the storage cost is very high, because when I say a storage cost is very high, why? Because you are frequently accessing the data. That means the file has to be available all the time. So when a file is available all the time, that means the latency is less. That means the storage cost, storing that file will be very costly process. Okay, anyway the file is available all the time. That means that the transaction or retrieval cost is very less, right? Anyway the file is available all the time, so when I click on it, it will be available. That means the retrieval cost is very less. That retrieval or transaction both are same, sir. Retrieval cost. Okay, and likewise the storage cost for the archive once in a year is very less because you are not accessing this file. That means I need not to make the file highly available. So it's okay if it is not highly available also. But if it is not available, if you try to access the data, that's where the cost increases. Okay, so that is the reason standard is having a storage cost is very high, and the transaction or retrieval cost is very less because it's a frequently accessed file. And infrequently accessed files like archive and cold line, the storage cost is even though lesser, but the transaction cost is very high. So this way you have to be very smart enough to select your storage class also. This way, I mean, while you are selecting the region type, location type, while you are selecting the storage class also, you have to be very smart. Okay, so this is one more thing that you have to understand. Hope that makes sense, guys. Any questions on this one? Right, so that is one thing, guys. Now if I go, we already know that the storage cost is very high for standard, the transaction cost is very high for archive. So this is what is the storage cost, and this is what is the transaction cost. I would say retrieval, it is easy for us to understand. Okay, so this is how we have to understand the storage class. Now think that your manager told that that file, the file which you are going to, the files that you have to keep inside this particular bucket, you are going to frequently access it, then you go for the standard. Once in a month, nearly. Whenever you get a chance to read the description, so that you will be very clear, guys. Look at the description, it will be very clear for you. Okay, and cold line once in a quarter, archive once in a year. Select standard. I'm selecting standard. Why? Because my manager told me that we are frequently accessing this data. I clicked on continue, and this is where so far we are smart enough to understand, provide the location type and storage class. Now this is where we have to worry about our access to the data, controlling the data, because you have created a bucket. Okay, you have created a bucket. Do you wanted to provide a public access to this bucket, because this is your project data that you are storing inside this bucket? Okay, this bucket you are storing a project data which you don't want it to provide access to anyone. So you may be having some sales data, you may be having some customer data. Okay, you may be having some JSON files, you may be having some Parquet files. So some different file formats, files are very important for your business. You are having all of these things here. Some confidential files, some artifacts, some all other different information you are going to keep it here. Confidential data. So all of those things you are going to keep it here. So you don't want it to provide the access to anyone, so that is fine. But how can I control the access to the some people? Okay, I have to provide access to few people who are authenticated, right? So how I am going to control the access? Okay, that's where we have two options, guys. Okay, you can control the access at a bucket level. Think like this. We need not to worry about like this. Think like this. We have two users. Okay, we have two users. So there is a user 1 and there is a user 2. Okay, we have two users. There is a user 1 and user 2. So this user, focus on this point, guys. This user need to have access to all the files inside the bucket. Okay, what is his requirement? need to have a access to all the files inside the bucket. Okay, so this is a requirement for him. You need to access all the files inside this bucket. And the other hand, we have one more user. He need only access to few files, such as say few files. That means we need access to only these two files, guys. Only these two files he need access to. Okay, so one guy needs an access to all the files inside the bucket, and one more guy he needs an access to few files. Now tell me how we are going to provide the access. If I provide him both the bucket level access, this is fine for him because he needs to have access, but it's not good for him, or it's not good for the business that unnecessarily provide an extra access to this guy, right? So that's where we have to think about it while selecting a proper access control option. Okay, so this is where we have to worry about access control, guys. How we have to provide a access or control, or sorry, how we have to provide access to each file. So this guy needs an access to all the files. So for him, I will provide a bucket level access. What kind of access I will provide him, sir? Access at rate bucket level I will provide him, so that he will be able to have access to all the files. Do I have to provide him the access at rate bucket level? No, because this guy maybe think that he's a junior data engineer, should not have access to the confidential data. So if I provide him here, unnecessarily use this file, misuse this data, and he will be able to. So that is a security issue. So we don't want it to provide him the bucket level access. So that's where we will provide him the access at rate. What is the one more concept, guys, here? How the bucket operates, how the cloud storage operates via bucket and object. So this way we will provide him the access to the only object level. So I'll go to this object and I'll go to this object. I will provide him access to only these files. I will provide him access to all of these files. So this is how the concept of access control, guys. How we are going to controlling the access to the each and every file inside a bucket. So here bucket level access, here one more is object level access. So that's the reason they have come up with some name, uniform. The name itself, it is saying that uniform access to all the files inside the bucket. Okay, so we're going to provide him the uniform access control option. That means he will be having a uniform access to all the objects inside a bucket. And for him, I will provide him a fine-grained access. Fine-grained access. The name itself, it is saying that we are going to providing him a granular access. That means we are providing him access to the specific objects inside a bucket. Okay, it is a specific. When I say uniform, all. When I say fine-grained, specific. Okay, so this is what is the concept of uniform access control and fine-grained access control. So that will be achieved in the access control option. Okay, so let us go back to our console and see here. So choose your bucket, choose how to control access to the objects. So I have here access control, and I have two options. One is uniform, one more is fine-grained. Uniform access to all the objects inside a bucket by using the bucket level permissions. And you see here fine-grained. Specify the access to the individual objects by object level permission. How we are going to achieve it? Once the bucket is created, we will see. Okay, how we are going to provide access? This is a concept of providing access to entire bucket or specific files. Okay, how we are going to provide access to one person, we will see once the bucket is created. Okay, so that thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, so far any questions, guys? Let me drink some water. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, paste it in the chat, guys. That's great. No one is having.
So one
Yeah,
question I have.
yeah,
So
you
as
can ask me.
this bucket is global, but bucket name, right? But we are defining under some project. So is that bucket will be visible other project as well?
So it's your choice. So that is something that more of you have to think about it holistically. See, see what is something you are asking is that in a GCP we can create multiple projects. So this is your project one. This is your project two.
Right.
You have created some bucket here. Here you wanted to access the bucket from this project. How do you wanted to access it? Let me know first. Okay. So think that you have created a bucket here in this project one, and you asked me that you wanted to access this particular bucket or whatever the file. It's not the bucket we are accessing, it's the files that we wanted to access, right? So file
Correct.
one is there, right? How do you wanted to access it? So you wanted to do some processing by using this file, or you wanted to load this data to some other file. That's your choice, right? So for example, you gonna use it in the BigQuery to create a table inside a BigQuery as a one table. Okay, convert or load this data from this file to the BigQuery table. So you're gonna provide access. Okay, you can provide access to the project as well, or you can provide access to the service account, because what is the requirement is that the BigQuery is trying to retrieve the data from this bucket or file. So via some service account, right? So what we will do is like in this bucket, we provide a service account, this service account, and that service account, whenever there is a request from the service account, we grant that. So that's what we are talking about, this access control. Either it is a user or a service account, sir. It does not need not to worry about it. So we will see what is a service account later. Either when I say user, what is that? It's not we are using the name, right? It's something that some account, user account, some Google account. And when I say user one, it is again a Google account. Right. So we provide access to that Google account here. We provide access to the service account here. It's the both way it is same. Whether it is an object level service or a bucket level service, we need not to worry about it. So now this service account, whenever he needs an access to this particular file, I will provide access like this. For example, he needed access to the customer, that service account, I will provide him an object level access. So whenever there is a request from this one, we will be able to use it like this. Okay. So the concept is that it's not you and me worried about the access, how you want to achieve it. Okay. So maybe once the bucket is created, we will see how we are going to achieve it. Okay. So we will not be, I mean, there are plenty of topics we need to, because some people may understand today. If I say more things, some people may not be able to understand. So let's not go or let's not move forward. Let us try to understand each and every topic very clearly, and then we will worry about it. Okay. So
Got
your question is very good, and we can able to access like that. Yes, for sure.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Saidhul,
Yeah.
this access related will be taken by any admin, or as a developer we have to take this?
Yes, that's a very good question. So as a data engineer, we are actually not taken care of this access and control and providing access to that one. But when you are actually working in a sandbox environment, see, we also work in a sandbox environment. At that time, we have a access to create a bucket. we have access to provide, create a file or upload a file inside the bucket. At that point of time, if you wanted to provide an access, that's where we will need all of these concepts. But when you are working in a NPD production environment, you never touch these things. There will be an admin who is taking care of these activities. Okay. When it is a POC project, you will be working on a sandbox. That is proof of concept you wanted to build. At that time, you will be having a full leverage over your entire project. So when I say sandbox, it's not sandbox, sir. It's a sandbox project. So that means GCP project you are creating as a sandbox. If it is a production project, we will not be having access to all of these activities. There is a dedicated team which will be doing this, all of these activities. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Any other questions? We will stop it here, guys. Okay, we will stop it here. Okay, and we will continue tomorrow, because there is also once even I continue, click on continue, I have either two more options is also there. One more is object versioning and one more is retention policy. Okay, so we will understand these two topics and we will create a bucket maybe on Monday, and we will see rest of the things. And we are creating a bucket via console. So now you have to understand one more point. Any service, as I told you, there is one general point I have told you, right? Somewhere here. Yeah. Any service that you are, okay. If you go to any cloud platform, you are working with any service, there are two costs associated, that is storage cost and retrieval cost. This is one point about the cost. And one more thing, if you are working in any cloud platform, there are two ways that you can able to interact with each and every service. Interaction. If you wanted to interact with any of the service, mainly two ways. Okay, one is console, nothing but a user interface. Second one is command line tool, CLI, command line interface. That is nothing but your shell or SDK. Maybe in our upcoming classes, we will learn what is this shell, how to work with the shell. What is this SDK, how to install the SDK, and how to work with the SDK, we will see. Now, how we are creating a bucket, we are trying to create a bucket from the console. We will also see how to create a bucket from this command line tool as well, maybe tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday. Okay.
Sir, one last question. So we are creating via to as part of this course, are we going to use Terraform as well to create this services?
No, we are actually not using the Terraform here. Usually, I mean, if you wanted to work with the Terraform, if you wanted to create a bucket via Terraform or client libraries, I will tell you how to do that. But we are not focusing on the Terraform very much here. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so this is about the Google Cloud Storage, how to interact with each and every service. One way we are learning today via console user interface. Maybe our upcoming classes, we will learn about from this CLI as well, guys. So this is one thing. And this is about our today's Google Cloud Storage. And hope you learned something today. What is a Google Cloud Storage? It is a fully managed service for storing your data of any files, any format, whatever it is. Okay, so this is what it is. It operates via buckets and where we keep objects. Our bucket is nothing but a container, object is nothing but a file of any format. That's it. Remember that. And how to create a bucket. While creating a bucket, first thing we have to provide a global unique name. Second, location type. We have three types again. Think about logically and select a proper location. Again, we have to select a storage classes. We have four options. Smart here and provide a proper storage class. And again, access control, how do you want to provide access? Whether you wanted to provide an entire bucket level access to all the people or specific access to the each and individual object. So that's where you select a uniform or fine grained. So with this one, we will conclude our class today. Okay, yeah. If any of the people here are new to the first, new to this course, or if for them, if it is a first class, they can be here, or the rest of them, they can actually, it's a end guys. Yeah. If there are new guys are there, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. I'm going to tell you what are the topics that we are covering. in
Yeah.
one shot. Yeah. This is my course content notebook. So this is what we are going to provide an access, guys. So which we are seeing today here is right. So GCS, what is the GCS? Everything is here. How to create a bucket via console and all of these things here. I will provide an access maybe once and all the people have registered. Okay, maybe Monday or Tuesday, hopefully. Okay, so this is a course content that we are discussing in our sessions, guys. Okay, so we had some basic classes on what is a Google Cloud Platform, what is a data engineering, what is a data warehouse, what is a data lake. That's it. I mean, hardly one class was completed about the basics where we had discussed about the difference between the RDBMS, data lake, and data warehouse, which we will be seeing in our upcoming classes also. Don't worry. Okay, that is one thing. And the services that we are learning in this one is the tools that we are learning in this particular course is all of these things, guys. We are learning about the RDBMS solutions, Cloud SQL and Cloud Spanner. We are learning about the data warehouse solution that is BigQuery. And we are learning about the ingestion tools. And we are learning about the Hadoop and Spark environment via Dataproc. It is very similar to the Databricks, guys. I'm telling you. So whoever wanted to, whoever is already familiar with the Databricks, they are already familiar with the Dataproc. Okay. And data flow. Data flow is with the help of the Apache Beam programming model. Who wanted to create a batch and stream data pipelines? We are also learning about the Apache Beam. In the Dataproc, we are going to work with the PySpark environment. PySpark data frames we are going to create here. And in the data fusion, it is a user interface based where we create a data pipelines with the help of the UI. Okay, so this is what it is. And workflow orchestration tool, Composer, nothing but our Airflow managed service. IAM, Cloud Functions, Cloud Scheduler. Okay, so this is all the topics that we are going to learn in our upcoming sessions, guys. The prerequisite for this course is SQL.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one question.
What is the duration, sir?
Yeah, so the duration for this course is 45 or 40 plus hours, you can say. Close to 2 months, guys. If I have to say in months, close to 2 months.
For certification, are you going to provide any
Yes.
exam or something?
Correct. I forgot to mention. So if you guys are going for the Associate Cloud Engineer certification or Professional Data Engineering certification, I will also provide you that material, the question pattern and all of those things. That will also very helpful for you to, crack the exam, because even I am also certified here.
Okay. Actually, I'm working professional, so the reason, right? Most of the time means 9 p.m. I have a client call or like that. So is that if I will not able to join and I will gone through the recorded video, but the next session, if I will join, I can ask previous session related questions.
That's fine. See, every day at the end of our session, I'll be here for next 5 to 10 minutes. If anyone having any questions, I'll be here to clarify that. That's not a problem. And the recording sessions are also be shared with you.
Okay, because I 9:30 after 9:30 I will be available at 10 p.m. But yeah, I think this class timing is 9 p.m. So anyways, okay, I'll manage it.
Yeah. Any other questions anyone having, guys? Any questions about any of the topics, you can ask me. I'm here for next 5 minutes. I'll be able to clear
just
doubts.
last, yeah. So this program like Dataproc, data flow, all these are data ingestion tool or processing tool. So in the real world, we will do some processing with the data.
So whatever the real world, how the people are using the Dataproc, how people are actually, you need not to learn about the Dataproc only. You are going to learn about Hadoop Spark environment. If I go to the Dataproc, you see here, you are going to learn about the Hadoop ecosystem, how it would be. And this is my notes, guys. I'm going to provide you the access to these notes as well. How it was earlier, what are the main components, how it was developed later, and what is a cloud Dataproc, how it is different from this Hadoop and Spark environment. Okay, and how we are going to work with the PySpark, and we are having a case studies, we are having cluster creations, we are having a real-time projects. So everything is here. Need not worry about it. Okay. So everything, it was a dedicated material which will be very helpful, but may not be able to understand while seeing it. But when I am explaining, you'll be able to get a good idea. Don't worry about that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Okay, guys. Thank you all. If you guys does not have any questions, we will wind up the session for today. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.